Hi everyone, it's Kristen. So I just finished watching Agatha All Along, the sixth episode, and it's all about obviously Wiccan, which confirms what we thought in the last episode. I felt like this episode was a little bit dragged out, like they could have summed it up a little bit better, but it was still a good episode. It was still interesting. We saw, uh, William Kaplan is who he was. And we saw Lilia at his bar mitzvah, doing palm readings, which I'm like, I've never been to a bar mitzvah, so I can't really comment it. But I thought it was weird that there was a palm reader at a bar mitzvah, with like a Jewish religious birthday ceremony. But I guess technically the birthday party is not like religious or anything. So like I said, I don't know. I'm not Jewish. I haven't been to a bar mitzvah, but yeah, I'm curious to know, like, if that's a kind of a typical thing that they have at a bar mitzvah, or if it's just something mostly they did for this show. So if you guys, would let me know in the comments, I'd appreciate that. But anyway, so what we learn is that there was a disturbance in Westview that day. The Red Dome, the ruins were coming down. And so everyone raced off to see what was, going on, what was wrong. And just outside, just a couple miles outside of Westview, William and his parents get in a car accident. And apparently what happened, we learn later on in the episode, is that William actually died that day. And Billy Maximoff, who, disappeared that day, died that day, he took over William's vacant body. This kind of reminds me of probably none of you out there have seen this show that have watched MCU superhero stuff, but reminds me of Drop Dead Diva, where this plus size lawyer Jane was shot and she died that day, and this aspiring model Deb also died that day. Deb went to heaven, and she's like, I am not supposed to be up here. I want to go back to Earth. I have so much left I need to do. Anyway, she presses the return button on the keyboard, and that sends her back to Earth in a newly vacated body, which happens to be Jane, the plus size lawyer's body. It's a fun show. I mean, it's definitely more of a, I would say, girl show, but it's a fun show. And that's what this reminded me of, is that Billy took advantage of the fact that William died and vacated his body. So Billy took over William's body. So, and from that point on, of course, he couldn't remember Billy because, he's not William anymore. He's Billy. Couldn't remember anything from his previous life. But he just pretended like he could so his parents would be okay and not freak out anymore. And he also found out that he could read minds now. Like, he knew what people were thinking. So he found, did this research about Westview and who lived there, and found this guy that lived there that was willing to talk to him. And okay, I didn't expect this, but it's Quicksilver. The guy who, supposedly, well, he was Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, the Fox X-Men movies, but who, supposedly was Wanda's long-lost brother in the series, WandaVision. And that, I think, Agatha set up, because Ralph, Quicksilver, says that he, was a puppet. Like, Wanda treated them all like puppets, like they were in this sitcom and they could only do basically what they were supposed to do in the sitcom. Like, they could only act out and say their lines, and that was it. They couldn't do anything else. And then he talked about how Agatha made him even more so her puppet. Like, he made her hold a lady hostage in his attic. He took over her, she took over his house. He made her poison a dog. He was a terrible influence on Wanda and Vision's kids. Just all this stuff. He's like, I can't go back there. I'm never going back to Westview ever. Like, she can, have my house for all I care. I'm never going back. And, he basically thinks don't ask about Agatha Harkness. And of course, Billy can hear him and says, who's that? And he's like, she's an evil, centuries old witch. Stay away from her. She's nothing but bad news. The last I heard, she was still in Westview under some kind of spell. So Billy proceeds to kind of like look up all the stuff about Agatha, and he plans to go to Westview. And somehow, they don't say, he has this book of spells, and he actually, breaks into Agatha's house in order to get a personal item to enact this spell on her. So I don't know where he got the book of spells. I mean, they don't say. Like, I'm curious though. I want to know where he got it. Like, is there a place that you can buy it? Like, I guess he is like a witch because he's Billy, but do like all witches have this innate like, oh, if I go here, I can buy like a spell book and like the ingredients I need for, potions, or like, you know what I'm saying. I'm curious about that aspect, like where he got the spell book. Anyway, so then we go to, the beginning where they first met, him and Agatha, and it kind of replays that scene. And it also, does the whole when he had the sigil on him that Lilia put on him, he said his name, but he couldn't talk. Like, Agatha couldn't hear him, and the others couldn't hear him. And so, since the spell sigil is broken now, because he revealed himself through using his powers, then she could, she can understand him now, I guess. And so basically, like, we go fast forward to when they're, at the road, the last episode. And Agatha talks about how, I knew it was you. I wasn't positive, wasn't 100% until you used your powers. And then she says, you and your mother have the same tell, but she didn't tell us what that was, which I'm kind of curious what it is, because, like, I don't know. And she says, kind of questions him, like, why do you want to finish the road? You have power, obviously. I mean, you can't control it, but you have it. So that's not it. And she goes through the list, and she's like, your mom's dead. Your father is in parts somewhere. So what could it be? And then she hits on that Billy wants to find Tommy, his brother, his twin brother. And Billy says, yes, like, I can hear him. I know he's out there, but I can't find him. So that's my goal of finishing the road, is I want to find my brother. And Agatha's like, well, come on, let's go. And he's like, I don't trust you at all, which, yeah. Like, okay, I revised my previous statement where I'm like, oh, Agatha seems like, mostly a nice person. No. Like, from this, how she was antagonizing Billy and being with him, she does not seem like a nice person, like, at all. I mean, in the comic books, she's done nice things, but she just does not seem like a nice person, like, at all in this show at this moment. So yeah, so they agree to finish the road together, but they don't trust each other. Especially Billy, doesn't trust Agatha. But I feel like maybe they know that they need each other to finish the road. Because at one point, Agatha mentioned in the Ballad of the Witches road that two had to make it to the end or something like that. And so I'm still kind of wondering, okay, are Lily and Jen dead? Because they didn't pop out of the ooze like Agatha did. So, yeah. So I'm curious. Like, they seem to be dead. But Lilia hasn't had her trial yet. So I don't know. Like, do you really think she is dead? I mean, I guess we'll find out next week, maybe. So I guess until then, or until I post another video. And I mean, I did it this way because it's easier to hold my phone this way. but we'll see how it turns out. So hopefully it turns out okay. So, oh, and yeah, I wore one of my Scarlet Witch t-shirts to talk about this, of course. And so, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.